Hey everyone, Channel from the Airsoft Headquarters here, and welcome back to another review video. Today I finally get to sit down and do a review video on the Elite Force MP7 VFC, the Elite Force VFC MP7 AEG platform. Now, we have had these platforms in the Airsoft Headquarters store for quite a while. However, they have always sold out very, very quickly, so I have never been able to actually sit down and do a proper review. This is actually the last one that I have in stock, even though I ordered 3 a week and a half ago. So these sell very, very quickly, and for a good reason. The AEG MP7 is going to be a 1-to-1 scale that is battery powered of the real steel MP7. Now there are other brands and other manufacturers of MP7s, however they are not quite to the same scale. There are MP7s that are going to be gas blowback, and others that are going to be battery powered as well. However, none of the other platforms are going to perform as well as this one does stock. Now, the MP7 that I have in front of me, the one that I'm holding, is going to be an all polymer body. However, there are going to be some metal parts to this, such as the top rail, parts of the folding iron sights, the arms of the stocks, the bolt release, and some of the receiver pins themselves. Internally, it is going to be a proprietary gearbox that is going to be all metal as well. Now, there are a couple of videos online where you can see a disassembly tutorial. However, I do not suggest taking this apart unless your warranty is voided. Then you can do whatever you want to it. But until then, run it stock. Some of the most notable features of the MP7 are going to be the folding grip, the ambi selectors that it has, such as the trigger, the bolt release, the mag release, and the sling points that are going to be on the stock, the rear of the receiver, and the front of the receiver. Another thing to note is that the MP7 directly out of the box does not come with any sort of side rails. Here at the Airsoft Headquarters, we do sell side rails, such as is shown on this MP7 right here. The stock does have 4 positions. It has all the way forward, 1 position back, 2 position back, 3 position back, and you can completely remove the stock itself. It is very easy to remove, and it is also very easy to put back in, just like that. The charging handle does retract somewhat. It does not retract as far as you would think. It only goes back about 1.5 inches, and that is to show the hop-up unit that is right here. That's how you get to your hop-up unit. The charging handle only goes back a very, very short ways, and that's only as far as you can really go with it. Push it back forward, and then you have your bolt release right here. You're going to push down, and that sends the window forward and closes it. The battery does go up in front of the handguard here. You do have this little finger groove right here. You're going to push that up, and then it sort of just wiggles forward. It does reach this part on the orange tip, which is metal, and you can rotate it, and that will give you access to the battery compartment. It's very, very small, and it does take a proprietary style of battery, unless you can find the exact same size battery from a different brand. But I would ultimately suggest the Elite Force branded LiPo. That is going to be suggested. And then you can just move that back forward. This front piece does come all the way off, but for simplicity's sake, I like to just leave it up there and just rotate it out of the way. The velocity on the AEG MP7 is going to run you about 380 feet per second, and it is very consistent, fluctuating only at max, I think, 5 FPS. The magazine is going to be a mid-cap style of magazine, and it does come with 1 mid-cap directly in the box. Now, the magazines themselves are going to hold 110 rounds, and these are going to be all polymer magazines, so they are very light, and they don't hold very many. The magazines do have a follower, which I will touch up on later on. The weight of the rifle and the magazine altogether is about 3 pounds 10 ounces, so it is in fact very, very light for any of you SpeedyBois out there that are trying to run around with as little weight as possible. I'm not sure why I'm flipping the rifle upside down, but there you are, rifle's upside down. Now, there are a couple of things with the MP7 that have been issues with some of the players that have purchased some of these. One of the biggest issues, like I had said before, is with the magazine. The magazine does have a follower, and this is to allow for all the BBs from the magazine to go up into the rifle to be shot out. The follower also works as an empty mag detection system, so once you are all out of rounds, the gearbox is going to stop firing, and this prevent dry firing. It's also a little bit of realistic feature as well. So you have a magazine that is full, put it in there, and then you hit your bolt release to continue firing. The issue that players have, without consulting their manual of course, is the fact that they have this follower up and they try to jam it into the rifle. Well, the follower goes from left to right and it will not fit inside of the hop-up lips. So what happens is they force it in and it breaks. This is the biggest issue with these types of magazines. However, it's not an issue, it's just an issue with the players not understanding what they're supposed to do, especially when in the box and with aftermarket magazines there is this little flyer saying, warning, there is a follower and it has to be inserted into the magazine before you insert it into the rifle. So, follower, you push it down, then it goes into the rifle no problem. It's really a simple fix. It's just the player base that doesn't really pay attention. Another thing with the MP7s is that some of the players are complaining about lack of battery space. There is battery space, it just doesn't fit the battery that those players specifically want. So instead, we look to this MP7, which does feature a external battery pack in the form of a PEC box. This is an 11-1. It is just a imitation PEC box. It doesn't have a light, doesn't have a laser, but it runs the battery. So you can plug it in with your wires externally, and you can then fire the rifle without having to worry about this battery space. Now, what a lot of players aftermarket are going to have with the MP7 is the orange tip removal. As a professional technician, I cannot stress to you enough, do not remove the orange tip. Do not remove the orange tip. For no reason should the factory orange tip be removed, because what happens is that the metal orange tip is connected from glue as well as a pin to the outer barrel. The outer barrel then goes into the gearbox. Now, anyone that has watched any of the Combat Machine orange tip removal videos on YouTube, this does not apply to this. A Combat Machine is not the same as an MP7. In fact, like I said before, you should not remove the orange tip. You have no reason to, because here's what happens. Someone starts cranking on this, you're going to start breaking stuff in here, and that's an internal issue. These gearboxes are proprietary, so not a whole lot of parts are available aftermarket, and they are in fact very, 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 very difficult in order to just get out of the body itself, let alone try to disassemble for us as techs to try to fix. Now, we can look towards this staff-owned MP7. This is a aftermarket mock suppressor and tracer unit that goes directly onto the factory orange tip. Now, you can watch all sorts of YouTube videos on how to attach this type of suppressor. Just make sure that you are purchasing the AEG VFC MP7 mock suppressor, because there is a difference between all of the other options available. While we are looking at this is what we would ultimately suggest doing. Leaving the factory orange tip, putting an aftermarket mock suppressor on. If you want a different type of battery, you can get the external PEC box. Other than that, I was able to bring the velocity of this MP7 down to indoor legal for the Airsoft Arena. It does take a proprietary type of spring because of how condensed the gearbox is. So unless you know for certain what you're doing, please do not try to do any of this at home, such as removing the orange tip, which you shouldn't have to, since you can pick up one of these, which hides that orange tip. Plus, it doubles as a tracer unit. Do not try to change the spring yourself unless, again, you're a trained technician and you know what you're doing. Also, don't try to rewire it yourself unless you're a trained technician and you know what you are doing. Other than that, this is a great platform in and of itself. This is not my type of forte, having this type of short condensed rifle. However, there are some things that I really liked about it, such as this type of stock. Other types of PDWs use a more condensed style of stock that is harder to shoulder. But because of this extended arm here, I am able to get a good shouldering, a good point of contact into my shoulder, while still being able to put my cheek onto the arms here and aim down sights, either with a rised optic or using just iron sights. So if you're trying to do a type of replica kit, or you're looking to do something very, very close quarters, something very light and reliable that you can run stock, then this is the platform that I would suggest for you. There is not a whole lot of aftermarket upgrade parts, although, like I said before, you can run it stock very, very well. And I do have some gameplay footage up of me running this. So if you guys have any sort of questions, you can put those down in the comment section below. Please like and subscribe. Show me some support, please. I'm trying really hard to get a lot better at this. You can also follow us on all of our other social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Airsoft C3, and go ahead and visit our website, which we just remodeled a couple of months ago. Other than that, you guys take care. Have a good rest of your day.